the thing that Moorambilla does that I've never seen anywhere else. It says, this is what you can do. You should try and get there. Moorambilla takes it from a sort of abstract into like, oh, maybe I can really do this. I think that's the thing we all took away. Yeah, not everything has to be a pipe dream.
Like seeing people who actually their career is the arts, that's something you don't see in the country at all. Things that I kind of consider to just be a hobby, but they're doing them their whole lives. It's like the only opportunity you have when you live in the country to experience these sorts of things. I'm now the president of the Drama Society, so I really have just had a great run at uni, and I think a lot of those skills, like being able to present to people, just stage presence in general, it's just been so useful. I've loved it.
A thing I loved about Moorambilla was that age was never an issue when making connections with people, and so going through Moorambilla Voices and starting and making foundational relationships with people you meet when you're young. Friendship that at the core is creative and at the core is connection by interest. Moorambilla was the way that I realised that I love to be creative and that there are people like me out there. It was a super positive realisation. There's a really beautiful part of the Australian culture that I wasn't exposed to when I was younger that I then learnt about and now I carry with me very strongly.
There are so many deep connections that are made on site. So strong of a connection that you build with these people because you're finally in a place where you feel like you belong. And you're in a place with people who understand and are going through the same things as you and enjoy the same things as you.
Through Moorambilla, I had the opportunity to extend and continue on with my dancing. And through the dancing, I've experienced many opportunities through this. And now coming back to Moorambilla as a teacher this year is exciting for me, and see that us country kids can actually make a change as well. I feel like when I got dancing, Neville at the time in my last year, he gave me opportunities to come to a dance training institution. Since then, I just kept going with it. They can help as much as they can through the point where you can actually step foot into where you need to be.
Now as an educator and as a teacher, I found that Moorambilla has really propelled me into my profession, giving kids that environment that I found at Moorambilla towards reaching our own goals, setting our expectations and reaching them, learning to be accepting and to be mindful of others' goals.
The main thing that I took away from Moorambilla was resilience. This idea that if you work hard enough, you can do it. And have Michelle sort of set the bar. You've got to meet it, let's go. And I think through that resilience that I got through Moorambilla, worked really well in opera. The same things required. Like, I don't think I'd be in San Francisco. I don't think I've done any of the things I've done without that trait. And I think I owe a lot of that to Moorambilla.
I think Moorambilla represents Indigenous culture in the regions in such a beautiful way. Like, there's the artist immersions, there's Indigenous people you're working with. It's like an actual holistic look at a culture that is continuing, like, to this day. And yeah, I study anthropology, and a lot of like the stories and just the way that people have remembered them. Moorambilla is just continuing that. It's a continuation of the culture. There's a past and there's a future, and it really celebrates the present, I think, in terms of Indigenous culture and in the regions, just like rural culture in general. It's something to be celebrated, and I don't think anybody else does it the way that Moorambilla does.